Thank you so much for chatting with me today, and welcome to In Real Life. So this is one of many really honest conversations about motherhood, how it actually is, not the polished version. But I am genuinely so excited to be talking to you, Lucy, about motherhood and self-care, how we need to look after ourselves properly to be able to look after our children properly, which is something I think I'm quite bad at. I think especially if you're running a business like we both do, it's really hard to fit everything in. I think what I wonder and what other mums wonder is like where self-care actually fits into the day and what does it look like? Not Pinterest self-care, but
Yeah.
like real life stuff. And what I'd love to learn from you, because you're so good at all of this, is what that looked like when your kids were little and then how that has evolved as they've grown up a little bit. But yeah, what does real life self-care look like?
It obviously has its stages of what it looks like, but for me, it's just fitting in when I can. So most of my like skincare or self-care is done in the kitchen while the kids are having breakfast. I'm usually making porridge and trying to do like my like facial massage or whatever it is. So usually the kitchen is where it happens the most. And I feel like over the time it's just sort of changed, it's so important like to try and fit time in for ourselves. Like you said, though, it's not easy whether you're working or not. It's when you're looking after little ones, the juggle is real with like all the other daily like admin and life. So I think it's just finding the things that make you feel a little bit better with your day. And something that's such a simple one for me, but we know how important water is, but sometimes we don't drink enough. So it's even checking in with yourself to say, have I had enough water today? Have a little drink, and just hydrating ourselves, making our body feel better hydrated really helps. But I think as a mum, we're so busy thinking of like everyone else, everything else, and we forget to kind of go, hang on a minute, like what do I need right now, but what could I do in this minute just to make myself feel a bit better? And don't get me wrong, I don't always do that, but that's something that I find when I'm feeling really stressed or overwhelmed. It's like, hang on, how can I kind of help my thoughts for a minute? Whether that's a few seconds of breathing or having a glass of water or coffee, whatever it is, it's just checking in with yourself.
I love that. And I love that you're doing that in the kitchen. I'm so
Yeah.
guilty of it. I do not drink enough water, mainly because I'm like, I don't have time to be going to the loo all the time. But when you're making porridge or when you're doing whatever you're doing, what would be your self-care routine then at that point?
So it depends what like my day's like. Like I quite like to have like makeup free days, but I always really do think cleaning your face in the morning, it's like brushing your teeth. It's like a fresh start to the day. So I'll normally do my little like cleanse. I'll sometimes do that in the bathroom, but normally the kids are hungry. So I brush my teeth, go and have like start going in the kitchen, making their food. A little bit of facial massage. I find like whatever the night has been like tension builds up, and I find just doing a little bit of facial massage, just like warming up the lymph nodes and just really kind of working. So you want to go upwards, just doing like nice brushing motions up, and then just kind of rubbing here can really help with relieving tension, and it almost helps with just helping with a little bit of that stress or anything that we've sort of built up over the night. So I love a bit of that, but I'm probably rubbing in porridge while I'm doing it because I'm honestly always cooking or doing something when I'm doing all these lovely, relaxing things. But hey, it's a way
Reminds me of that episode of
of
Friends, where, like Ross with the wooden spoons. Is just, but
it
would
does
you do
feel like that
or would
sometimes.
you use like a gua sha stone or the like? I've seen those like brushes and things on
Yeah,
Instagram.
so gua sha brilliant. Gua shas are amazing, and we have them ourselves, but they are lovely and great. But if you haven't got time for that, hands are just as well. You can just really warm them up. And it is, I just find just doing that slight bit around sort of definitely the jaw area, it really helps. And also you can just hold on for 3 seconds under the eye, really like pressure without dragging, and go outwards, always go outwards. And then very gently, you just want to go over that. And this will help with any puffiness, dark circles. And again, it just instantly makes your skin feel better and your face. But you just want to, again, if you've got longer, great, but a minute is better than nothing. So just to do a little bit of nice massage, always use an oil. And just you don't want to drag the skin. But I find that does help if you just need to give your face a little like relaxation first thing.
But it probably helps regulate your nervous system a little bit. And then when
Definitely.
you're calm, the kids are calmer.
Yeah.
And when I'm calm, everybody's calm.
Yeah.
And the opposite very much.
Definitely.
I think that's so important because I always think like self-care is like you would see sort of on Pinterest or carving out hours in the evening and a bath and all the bits, which sometimes actually can feel overwhelming. And I just don't have time for it. And I don't know, but I always would sometimes feel a bit sort of guilty as well about taking time for myself, feeling it was sort of selfish and I should be doing that extra load of laundry or doing something else.
Yeah.
But it's that kind of idea of sort of putting your own oxygen mask on first is sometimes really important. Do you find that, or have you been? I suppose you maybe have it more in your life properly and you understand it.
I think it is really hard for me because my kids at the moment, so I've got an 18-month-old and a 4-year-old. So at the moment, I do find time for myself isn't something that I really get. Like it's just literally before bed, but it's not like, oh, I'm kind of relaxing. I'm kind of like kind of working at the minute or, mum life. And I am finding that balance of putting a bit of like me into that quite tricky at the moment. But where I am quite fortunate is obviously my job is wellness, self-care. So I am incorporating that into like my work or in the morning if it's a bit of facial massage, like I said, or throughout the day. But at the moment, things that just help me is even if it's just a nice walk, like especially early postpartum, like just getting a little bit of fresh air. If I fancied it, going out. Some days I didn't want to go out and I just stayed in and that was totally fine. But the days that I did, getting my eldest now in a sling because he had reflux and just gone on a nice little stroll in the fresh air, like normally actually without a podcast or anything on because I quite like listening to the birds and just what was around me if it was by the woods or going to like the local coffee and just getting a coffee takeaway, like that was self-care to me. And I feel like it changes throughout how my weeks are. Sometimes I feel like I'm really on it. And other weeks, actually, if you spoke to me last week, I probably would have had tissues here crying because I was so overwhelmed. I was just having one of those weeks where everything was on top of me. I was worrying about everything, couldn't get on top of anything. I was very overwhelmed. Whereas this week I've got a bit more of a spring in my step. I feel like I've got things under control and I've actually had time to, even though it's only Tuesday, I've done a few things the last 2 days that I hadn't done for a couple of weeks because I just feel different in myself. And I think it's just being kind to yourself and like not putting pressure on ourselves because it's easy to like scroll or see stuff and think, oh, I should be doing that as well. But it's actually what will make you feel good. And it doesn't have to be anything massive. It doesn't have to be fancy. It's just little things that make you feel good. They might not make your friend feel good or someone else but it's what makes you have a better day or a better evening or night. I think that's what's important.
No, I think that is really important. And it's things that it can sometimes be overwhelming the thought of like all the things that we should be doing. And even from the self care side of things and trying to drink enough water and trying to take all the supplements and trying to do the skincare routine and try that then becomes a chore in itself. And I think the
Definitely.
importance of getting out in nature, fresh air, it does put things in perspective.
Definitely.
Was there anything you managed to do last week to kind of pull yourself out of that feeling? Or was it just a again?
I got to Saturday and I was just like, was very emotional, cried a little bit, just had to keep talking because I didn't know what my feelings were. I just didn't feel like I just was very overwhelmed. And it was like the silliest things were just becoming like, if I said them now, I can't even share. They were silly things. And I was just like, no, that's going to make me cry again. And I think I just got to sort of the end of the week and I did some laundry. I know they say, leave housework and all that, but I feel better. I've gone into the week now and I've done some washing. My husband took the kids out for a little bit. I managed to get the house sort of in order. And I've prioritized now exercise. I haven't been exercising. I'm just saying twice a week. That's all I need to do at 20 minutes of movement for myself. And it's for my mind because it makes me feel stronger. It makes me feel better. So Sunday I got up, I did my like 20 minutes, 30 minutes of workout. And I was like, actually, I feel it's just kind of sometimes you have to have those moments to go, right, let's put something in place to help you moving forward. And I think I shared that on social media and the amount of mums and parents that came back saying, I feel exactly the same. Like, you're not alone in this. I think it is important that we all know, you're not alone in it. And I found it was like even things, you want to be busy with the kids, but I just didn't have like I didn't want to do anything, but I know I wanted to do something. And it was like silly things like that.
You feel bad because you're not doing it.
Yeah.
Get into that terrible sort of cycle. Yeah,
Yeah.
I get all the time and trying
Yeah.
to then live in the moment and then be overwhelmed, get everybody to bed, and then I'll scroll on Instagram and see like sad videos about your kids growing up and you've only got
No, it
X.
doesn't. I know, that's exactly like me, and I think, "Why have I gone on my phone?" I always see this stuff just before bed, makes you feel so awful and sad, and I'm like, "No, I don't need to see that." But I feel like we're all doing the best we can, if you're worrying and caring about anything that is involved with your kids, you're doing an amazing job, and that's something I have to tell myself because I can easily be like, "I should have done this, should have done that. Am I doing enough of this? Am I giving them the right foods? They haven't eaten enough today." It's like the never ending mum guilt and juggle. You just take it all on yourself and make yourself the blame for it.
Yeah, it's that sort of mental load. And I was speaking to somebody earlier and they said one bad day doesn't make you a bad parent. And I thought that
So true.
was a really nice thing to kind of
Yeah,
hold on. Um,
definitely.
we all have bad days and the kids have bad days. It doesn't mean it's bad forever. It's about regrouping. I think exercise is so important, not just for your body, but for your mind. Like I feel so much better. And it's always the last thing I feel like doing.
Mhm.
My husband's always really annoying. He always says the best exercise is the best thing for a tired body. Shut up. But he's always right in it, and it is right. And I feel so much better, but it's sanctimonious.
Yeah, and sometimes I find it's just fitting it like, it is fitting it in. Like, I found there was a time not long ago, I was like, I just it was more stress trying to fit it in. So I was like, "Just don't do it. You're putting more pressure." So whereas now I'm like, "Actually, I have got a bit more time, maybe because it's a bit sunnier, there's not rain today." I was like, "I'm gonna get up and do this. Like, let's go."
The rain was overwhelming. It was so
Yeah,
bad. I mean,
yeah,
it suddenly feels like spring's in the air. I can see some blue sky. There's some birds singing. Like everything feels a little bit better this week.
yeah.
Sorry. One of the things that we always like to ask is, what do you feel more mums felt less pressure about? I feel we probably covered some of that. But thinking back, I don't know, to like the postpartum days or just generally, what would you tell yourself or tell a new mum about not worrying about?
I think it is so hard because it's natural, but it's really not being so hard on yourself. And also a mum or you always know what's right for your child, and I think it's important to listen to that and never feel guilty or bad for how you want to like look after your child or what you think's right for them, because you know them best and you know their situation. And I look back kind of sort of earlier on, first time round, I feel like second time I kind of knew what was to come, kind of thing. It was a bit different that time round. And my first did have reflux, didn't sleep well. There was all these things, but I do feel like a few times I went sort of round in circles with going with other people's advice or what I should be doing over actually what I probably might have just done if I just had that moment to myself or with my husband to think, is this what we want to do or whatever it is. So I think it's trying not to be so hard on yourself and just always trust your gut. I know that's quite a simple one, but I do
No,
think
I think it's really true. I mean, I'm always guilty of putting a lot of pressure on myself and sort of not on the children, but like indirectly on the children about like, "You must be doing this and you've got to do the clubs and we've got to do this and you've got to be playing tennis." And sometimes it's just too much.
yeah, the amount of times I Googled all sorts of stuff the first time round because I was like just trying to find answers that I didn't even need these answers, but I was like, no, I've got, whatever it is I was worrying about. But I think it's natural. It's just because you care and you want to do the best for your kids, but always go with your gut and just let's all give ourselves a little bit more like pat on the back rather than I should be doing more, because it's so easy to, especially in this world we live in, like we're saying with social media and stuff. And I'm on social media, obviously, but it's like that comparison without even meaning to. Sometimes you don't realize you're doing it. And I'll kind of go, I've just been like comparing, thinking, why didn't we do that? Or should we be doing this? And actually, it was a good day before that. But suddenly I feel guilty. So it's really trying to, I think social media is incredible. It's got so many good things, but it's just really, it's hard not to, but try not to compare. I feel like I gave you loads of different answers there.
No, no, I love it. And I think it's really hard for like with you and me that we're running our own businesses and so much of that social media and so much day is spent
Yeah.
on Insta. But I don't want to be. And the kids are like, "Mummy, you're always on your phone." And I was like, I'm not. I am, but it's for work, not because I want to be. But there
Yeah.
is that pressure, isn't there? To
Definitely.
you've got to be doing all these things. But then you end up down these rabbit holes, which are awful.
They really are. But no, I think, yeah, it's just being kind to yourself. We all need to be a bit kinder to ourselves. Definitely.
Of care, absolutely. So with regards to that very magical but very tricky postpartum period, what would be your advice or what did you do or wish you would have done with regards to self-care at that point? Because that is, especially with baby number one, is so overwhelming.
Definitely. I think like number one is hopefully you've got people that you can kind of like talk to and confide in, because I think just being able to speak about your feelings and feel valid from it is like such a big thing, especially in those early days. Being able to speak to someone and just even getting it out in the air just helps. For me, talking's a massive thing. Any sort of problem shared is a problem half sort of thing. And self-care again, if I fancied it, it was going out on a walk in the fresh air, eating foods that you want to eat, enjoy, try and eat some nutritional foods, but just actually eat what you want. I remember like when I was breastfeeding, I was like, I just loved porridge with like just jam, and it was just like my go-to. I just loved getting up in the morning, having that, or being up all night and eating that, like just kind of eating what you want. I don't know, just again, it's just being easy. Try and rest. I do think rest is a really key thing, and just go by how you feel. Really, it's such a magical time, but it is hard, and it's such a change, and it's just kind of taking each day as it comes and not putting that pressure on yourself. If you don't want to do anything, don't do it. If you do, then amazing, go out and do it. Everyone's postpartum journeys are different, births are different, recovery is different. So it really isn't, again, that whole comparison thing. What you do is right for you and your baby over what someone else is doing and what's right for their baby and them.
Yeah, I think is, yeah, like you said, it's that being kind to yourself and finding out what makes sort of you happy and you calm.
Yeah,
And I think a calm and happy mum is a calm and happy baby. I don't know about you, but my kids really pick up when I'm stressed, and
yeah,
my because we're both in the business, it's in the house, and they can pick up when we're worried about things, and
yeah,
it's just keep everybody nice and calm, even though on the inside up.
yeah. Yeah, it is true. I think they feel what your energy, and it is, it is just kind of trying to like keep it, because I think again it's just the want to do so much, or we feel, oh, we want to be doing what we did before kids, or when we were like pregnant, you can like do more, but it's like actually just take that step back and enjoy that like time, if you've got that time to have those quieter moments. Actually, like I know they're hard when you're in it and you feel like, oh my gosh, this baby just wants to feed constantly, they're on me constantly, I'm not sleeping. But for me now, looking back, there's such like special quiet still moments, because they're just like, so it's just your husband might there, or your kids or whatever, but you're just like you and your baby, and you're just figuring each other out, and that's what that time's there for. And so it's not feeling like you need to be in like all the cafes having coffee, because that's what new mums do. Do that when you're ready. It's just taking away that expectation and pressure.